50th lesson on JavaScript and 6th lesson on the major line segment series. We are learning JavaScript and we are learning JavaScript by examples. And in this series, we are trying to recreate this application, which is available on this website here. And this is what we have done so far. So in the last lesson, we learned how to create these vertical bars. And in this lesson, we learn how to create these input fields so the users can provide their answers. However, this is a simpler version of what we are seeing here. So without further delay, let's get to it. So I will change the size of my browser. So we have our text editor on the left hand side and the browser on the right hand side, so we can see what we are doing. I have made a few changes in the CSS to bring this line down a bit, and I also want to let you know that it is time for us now to learn the difference between the old JavaScript and the new JavaScript. In the newer scripts, in the new JavaScript, we should be avoiding using this keyword var. We should instead be using let. And there are reasons now in modern JavaScript that we should be avoiding var keyword. Using var keyword can introduce bugs to your JavaScript in the modern JavaScript. Okay, so our job is to create an input field so the users can provide an answer, and I hope you know what to do. So we will create another element and I will call it result is equal to document dot create element, and the element that we are trying to create is input element. So we have done this very many times. I hope you know what to do next. So we have created an element, an input element, with the help of JavaScript, and have saved that element in this variable. This is still in computer's memory. It means that if I save it, it won't be visible on the page. So we have to attach it to an element that is already on the HTML document. So I will say ruler container, and I'm attaching this input element to the div that holds this ruler, this image. And I will say append child, and the name of this variable that holds the input element is a result. So I will copy this and I will paste this here. As simple as that. And if I save it now, you should be able to see an input element on the bottom side of the ruler. The issue is, as always, that when I refresh the page, the cursor does not appear in this input field, which can be frustrating for the users. I have to click into this input field to make the cursor available. So we want to make it as good as possible for the users. So I hope you know what needs to be done. This newly created element does not have an ID, so we cannot target these elements with the help of ID or class. So I will use the method that we have been using in past, that is document dot query selector, and we want to select the input fields, all the input elements, and I will say dot focus. So this should bring the focus to the input field as soon as we refresh the page. Let's see if that happens or not. So I will maximize the browser one more time and I will refresh, and every time I refresh, you'll see that the cursor appears in this input field. Next, we have to add an event listener in these input fields so the script knows what to do. So at this point in time, if you type in an answer, nothing happens because the script does not know what needs to be done. So I will change the size of my browser one more time, and I will add an event listener to these input fields. So I will say result dot add event listener, and we want to listen to every key press event. So I'll say key press, and what happens when a key is pressed, we want to run an anonymous function, and we want to save the key that has been pressed as an object, and we'll name this object E. An opening curly bracket and closing curly bracket after the function keyword, and within these brackets I want to say if parentheses and an opening curly bracket and a closing curly bracket as part of the if statement, and I want to say if E dot key code. We are saying that if the key that has been pressed has a key code of 13, which is the key code of enter key, and result dot value, the value that has been typed in by the user in this input field is equal to this variable, which is responsible for creating the length of this line. So I will copy and I will paste this here. So if the key that has been pressed is enter and the value that has been typed in by the user is equal to this variable, then what happens? So I will just check the script by using alert and I will say correct. So if I save it and maximize this, refresh my browser and type in an answer, or I have an alert that says correct. Okay, so this is it for today, and in the next lesson we'll modify this to finalize our script, and hopefully we should be able to finish this project soon. Thank you very much.